Hey guys, I'm back. I know it has been a while. I haven't posted many videos in the last several months, but I'm back at it, and I'm going to jump back into it today with a video about homeschoolers and learning to drive, getting their permit, driver's license, all that. I don't know much on the driver's license part. We are on the permit part of our journey with my oldest daughter, so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. You know that people think you can't get your driver's license if you don't go through public school system. I think it's the same mindset that people have where they're scared of homeschooling in the high school years. Like you tell somebody that you're homeschooling and they'll, oh, well, you're going to send them to, the whatever high school for their high school years, right? Or you're going to send them to high school for graduation or in their last year or what. Like you hear that a lot of people homeschooling until they get to high school and then they send them to public school, or until 12th grade and then they go to public school. You do you, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to be scared of that. I have a now 10th grader. I had no idea what I was doing. Transcripts, credits, all that kinds of stuff. Let me say that this is North Carolina. I don't know the driving laws. I don't know the school laws for other states. I know what happens in my state, so this is North Carolina. Don't take my word for any other state because all the laws are different. This is North Carolina. I didn't know what I was doing going into the high school stuff. When we started back homeschooling, my oldest was in 5th grade. We finished out 5th grade in that 2020 year. So we've been doing this since her 5th grade, full time since 6th grade. When we got to that 9th grade, 8th to 9th grade, I was scared about it. I've watched a ton of YouTube videos trying to figure out what I was going to do with like credits and transcript and all that and what she needed and make sure that I was doing it right. And the same mindset that people have with thinking that high school can't be done as a homeschooler, I think is the same mindset that people think they can't do driver's ed, they can't do the learner's permit and all that without public school, but you totally can. And I'm in the middle of that right now, so I'm going to tell you what I've learned and what I have figured out so far. Again, I'm not an expert. This is just where we are at right now, and I'm going to share with you what I know. So, first of all, they have to be 14 and a half to take driver's ed. They can take driver's ed at a public school. I know from friends that have had their kids do driver's ed and, family members or whatever, anybody I know people that are homeschooled that took driver's ed at public school. You can totally do that. Call ahead whether you're doing at public school or the other option is a private driving school, which is the route we went. You need to call way ahead of time. Like way ahead of time. They have to be 14 and a half to take the class, and then you have to be 15 to get your permit. So, that 6-month period, I say, be closer to them turning 15 to take it. That way there's not a lot of time between driver's ed and going and taking the test. But, whatever you can get, you need to call ahead. Call way early, especially, I think especially if you're going to do the public school route. From what I've heard in my area, they're booked. It takes a long time, and you have the two separate things. You have class time and then you have drive time, and that is really booked out. So whichever option you're going with, call way ahead of time. Call, when they are 13 and a half. Call when they turn 14, and just ask. If you're too early, then they'll just say call back at this time. It doesn't hurt to call early and find out if you need to go ahead and book your time for them to take it, or you need to wait and call back another time. Call early and see when they can get their spot for driver's ed. I don't know if there's a cost for public school driver's ed. I have no idea. That would be something you'd have to call, like whatever school your child would go to if they were in public school would probably be where they have to take their driver's ed at. I don't know if you can go outside of your district. I think that's probably how that works. But call them and get all that information, because I don't know. If you go the private school route, there were, I think, 2 options in the city that I live in for private school or private driving school. And I went with one that my nephew had just recently went with. I'd looked it up, months and months and months ago, and I told my sister about it, and her son is a little bit older than my daughter, so he got to take it before her, so I got a little bit of experience, her experience. I got some information from her about their experience with that school that I had picked out, so I was a little bit ahead of the game when she started. I knew what I was getting into. So I'd called, I don't even know. She took driver's ed. This is January. She took driver's ed the end of December, 1st of January, like the week after Christmas. I think I set that up probably she was able to take it in September. I think I called in like July because my sister had told me that it was about a month out. So I called in June or July, to see when she could take it. And they gave me separate times, you know, like she could take the class time at this time, or this week of September, this week of October. And it just worked out best for us because of all the other stuff we have going on, that we're super busy October, November, and December. It just worked out best to do it that week after Christmas, and it was fine for us. So when you decide where you want to send them, you will have to have their birth certificate to set them up, to do the paperwork and everything to set them up to start class. And I think that's the only like documentation I had to have, other than like our information. You had to fill out the paperwork that has, like her date of birth, her social security number, your child's information. But then birth certificate, I believe, was required, and I'm sure you probably have to have that for public school too. I'm gonna be veering off of the public school stuff because I don't know. We did private, so that's the route I'm going to be telling you about. So you'll need their birth certificate, you fill out the paperwork, contact the driving school months ahead of time, and they'll set you up with a time for them to go in. They have to do 30 hours of class time. My daughter went for 4 days, like full time 8 to 4 for 4 days during the week. And then we had the separate drive time where they had us pick, which days would work good. So they have to have the 30 hours of class time, and then they have to have at least 6 hours of drive time. With us doing the private school, it's one-on-one. And I actually had the option to ride along in the car with them. It was just the instructor and my daughter, and I had learned from my sister doing this with her son that she had the option to ride with him. I don't know if she did, or she did maybe on that last day when they have to get on the interstate. But my daughter heard that and was like, yes, I want you to ride. I definitely want you to ride. So I have rode along with her. That may sound really weird, like helicopter mom or whatever the term is, being overprotective, whatever. But she was uncomfortable with riding in the car with this older man instructor, and I'm not going to make her be uncomfortable. It was an option for me to ride. He had no problem whatsoever with me riding along. I asked permission ahead of time just to make sure. And I have rode in the car with her. And again, I know that sounds really weird. If you would have told me that, a year ago, that about a parent riding in the car with their kid for the driving part of driver's ed, I've been, that's a little weird, but not weird to me now. It was an option. I took it, and I have rode with her. She did her second day of driving today. We're getting on the interstate tomorrow. And I'm just sitting in the back seat, mouth closed, not saying nothing, not looking around too much, letting the instructor do his thing, and trying not to, I'm trying not to be a distraction whatsoever. I'm just sitting there. I'm, the extra person in the car, and I guess that's just a security blanket for her to know that I'm there. She's a little bit more comfortable, doing that drive time with the instructor by themselves, because it's one-on-one. You pay I didn't even talk about the price. It's not free like public school, or whatever the fee is for public school. I doubt it's that much, since you don't have to pay for public school. Again, I don't know, but this was not cheap. We are frugal. If you know anything about me and my channel, we try to save money. I go cheap on things. This is not something that we went cheap on. I knew this was coming. This was a planned expense. Saving money way ahead of time. I knew this was coming up, and it was not cheap. It was several $100s, but you'll have to call around, call different places. I don't know if that's like a set price, or since it's private, they get to set their own prices. Call around, check the prices for the different schools in your area if that's the route you want to go. But anyway, since it was private, I believe that, I don't know if public school does one-on-one, or if there's usually other kids in the car, but she got one-on-one with the instructor, which I'm thankful for, because she gets 100% of the attention. No distraction from any other kids in the car. But I forget where I was going with that. They have to have the class time. They have to have the drive time. When they're done with all of that, they will get a driver's education certificate. But then as a homeschooler, you have got to get their driver's eligibility certificate. And I'm in the middle of this right now. I have already requested it. You have to go onto the website, the same website that you set up your homeschool, where you file your notice of intent. If you haven't done this and you're just wondering about homeschoolers and getting, doing the driving stuff, if you don't have a homeschool set up yet, you will go to the North Carolina Department of Non-Public Education's website, NCDNPE. That is the part of the education, whatever, of North Carolina, their branch that covers homeschoolers. So you'll go to that website, you'll file your notice of intent. If you've already filed and you're familiar with that website, you'll log into your account, and there will be a thing that you click that says driver's eligibility certificate. You have to make sure that your kids' information is up to date on your profile. Like, I had to go change the ages because I hadn't updated it this year. But you'll have to make sure that one of your kids, the one that's eligible, is listed as at least 14 years old, and then you'll get that option to click driver's eligibility certificate. And I clicked it. It said it's coming, that it'll be in the mail in a few days. So I'm probably do an update along the way as we're in this process and let you know like when I get that and when she's taking her tests and all that. But I've already went on there, did that, requested the copy. I believe the chief administrator is the one that signs that. My daughter's instructor, I asked him about it, or he had asked me about it. And I double checked of who was supposed to sign off on that because I was confused about the two different certificates. But she's going to get a certificate from the driving school, and then the driver's eligibility certificate I will sign as the chief administrator of our homeschool. And you will have to have, if I'm wrong on this, I'll correct it in the next video, but I believe you have to have both of those certificates and the birth certificate to take to the DMV when they do their test for their learner's permit. Now, as far as that goes, you need to log on to the North Carolina DMV website at least 3 months in advance. What it looks like now, like if you go on there today is January 7th, you will look at, I don't know if there's a DMV office in every county, but if there are, 100 options for the 100 counties, there's like maybe 10 that have availability anytime in the next 3 months. And what I was seeing is that most of them have the availability to choose from exactly 3 months from today. So January 7th is today. February, March, April 7th was popping up on a bunch of different DMV sites. So you just go through the process, click which one you're wanting to make an appointment for. You can just walk in and wait. But I made an appointment. I'm not sure that I want to chance standing out with my daughter for 4 hours or however long it is and then be turned away because there was too many in line ahead of us. But 3 months ahead of time is what it's looking like if you are really like dead set on making sure that your kid gets to go get their permit on their birthday. Today is January 7th. I'm seeing some openings on like maybe 10 or 15 different DMV sites. When you click on it and it says it has availability, the only available day to choose from is April 7th. So it's exactly 3 months from today that it's showing 1 day of availability. So it looks like it only lets you book out like 3 months, but everything between now and 3 months from now is already booked except for that 1 day. That's what it's looking like. There were a few that had some openings in like the last 2-3 weeks of March, which is what I ended up getting. We are in the Piedmont of North Carolina, and the one that I found an opening on March 18th, which is about 2.5 weeks after her birthday, is up in the mountains. It's an area we're very much familiar with, and when I told her that that was where the location that I got her appointment at, and I did that with the intention of like, I went ahead and booked it, was like, if we have to do this, we will. But I'm going to keep checking the site, and if we get one of the DMVs come open or have an availability closer to us, I'll cancel that one and schedule it for the one that's closer to us at closer to her birthday. But when I told her that that was where I got the appointment at, she was all for it. We can make a day of it. It's up in near Ashe County. So she was like, I want to go to the mountains. I want to make a day of it. And that's something that we normally do. We went up to this area where the DMV is. We went to West Jefferson, and this is near there where we got the appointment at. We went up there the weekend before the storm hit, before the hurricane hit. We were up there, made a day of it. And that's the same area that this is where I've made the appointment. It was the closest in time and location to us, to her, and closest to her birthday that was available. So that's what I got. It sounds crazy that we're going to go that far, but she was like, yeah. I asked her, I was like, if one comes available that's closer, do you want me to take that so we can get it closer to your birthday? She goes, no, I kind of want to do a mountain trip. She's like, if I get my permit, I can drive. I was like, yeah, you can drive home from the mountains if you get your permit. So she's all for it. I think that's the route we're going to take. She doesn't mind not getting it on her birthday, but if you want to make sure that you get a specific date, you need to start checking that website at least 3 months before and start looking for those dates so that you can book your appointment. Now, I did look up what needs to be taken with you when you go to that appointment to take the written test for the permit. It's level 1, 2, and 3. So she'll be turning 15, or she'll be 15, and she's going for her level 1. And there's those different ones that you click on when you're making the appointment for which appointment you're wanting. But we're level 1. I looked up what she needs to take with her. It was 3 things. You have to take something that proves your age and identity. So that would be birth certificate for her. You have to have your social security card. and then a proof of residency. And it said for under 18, they will take magazine subscriptions, tax forms that list them as dependents, medical or hospital records, hunting or fishing license, and the fee was $25.50, or that was as of today, January 7th, 2025. The fee for the permit was $25.50. And then you won't get the actual permit when you're there, just like your driver's license. I don't think you get that now. It's mailed to you within 20 days. So if they pass, they will get a paper copy of their permit, and then their actual permit will be mailed to them. Now, when they start driving, you have to have someone who's had their license for at least 5 years. It's supposed to be a parent or guardian, a grandparent, or somebody approved. That was how it was listed, like a parent approved adult. And that person has to sit in the front seat with them. That's when, when they're driving, when they pass, they get their permit. But this has been pretty simple. This was one of those things that I was scared to do it. Like, it was, you got something coming up that you got to do, and you just keep putting it off and putting it off because you're not really sure what you're doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. This is our first time. This is our oldest daughter, and I'm brand new to this, so I'm just sharing with you. I'll post some more videos about this as when we go and she takes her test. If I've learned more information about that that you need to know, then I'll post another video about it. But this is where we're at right now, and this is the information that I have, and I wanted to share it with you because I know from personal experience that there are people that think that you can't do this process without public school, and you totally can. I'm in the middle of doing it. No public school involved. So if this was one of the things that you were on the fence about, homeschooling because you're scared of this, don't be scared of it. You can totally do it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I will be glad to answer that. You got any more information that I missed? If you're in North Carolina and I said something that was totally wrong, please put it in the comments and correct me. And, we'll have conversation in there about doing this driving kid permit thing. Y'all know I got a kid that is taking driver's ed, and my youngest is potty training. So, wide range of things going on in this household right now. I just think that's crazy. I keep telling people I've got one taking driver's ed and one potty training. We got a lot going on. All right, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate it, and I hope that you will subscribe so that you see more of the upcoming videos. I had disappeared for a little bit, but I'm back, and I'm going to share things that are going on with us. School stuff, life stuff, just all the stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.